Hello friends, today's topic is Globalized Economy in Hindi Cinema. As we have seen that from 1990s onwards, the kind of changes which came in the Indian economy in the framework of globalization, liberalization and privatization. And these changes in the economy also brought about a lot of changes in the film industry, and the kind of changes which came in the Hindi cinema with regard to the kind of changes in the economy got reflected in the kind of changes which were exhibited in the production, exhibition and distribution of the films. So we find that once all these kind of changes which came in the 1990s, how the kind of changes which came in the Hindi cinema in the framework of, for example, we see that with the coming of the multiplexes during this time, the coming of the foreign studios to India, how corporatization of the film industry also took place during this time, how we also see with the coming of the studios, big budgeted films and the small budgeted films, both of them, they were being made together by certain studios. Many a times it was also seen that how 4 to 5 films at the same time were being made by one particular studio. So all these kinds of changes which came in the Hindi film industry at that point of time, and this could also be seen in the framework of the kind of themes during this time, that new kinds of themes with a lot of experimentation during this time could also be witnessed during this particular period. And how when the foreign film studios they came, we also find that how foreign technicians, etc., they were being also employed by the Hindi film industry as well. So from that point of view, how they also got a lot of exposure when the foreign technicians, they also came to work in Hindi films. And at the same time, when the Indian or the Hindi filmmakers and technicians, they got an opportunity, they also could later collaborate with the foreign technicians as well. With regard to the references, one can see Rini Bhattacharya Mehta and Rajeshwari V. Padand Pandey, Bollywood and Globalization, Indian Popular Cinema, Nation and Diaspora. Then another by David and Kavita Karan, Bollywood and Globalization, the Global Power of Popular Hindi Cinema. Then Sugimoto Yoshio article, Indian Cinema in an Age of Globalization. So these are some of the readings, apart from some others which one can refer when one is talking about the kind of changes which came in from the point of view of globalization in the Hindi cinema. We also see that how the Indian films or Hindi films, they have been very, very popular in diaspora as well, the people, those who are living in different parts of the world, and how they are also connected to Hindi cinema, and how both Hindi cinema and globalization, they have in a way interacted with each other, and how the kind of changes which have come in Hindi cinema due to the impact of globalization. So when one talks about the earlier period, the kind of changes which one can see in the recent times, especially after the 1990s, but when one sees that such kind of things, some of them they existed in the earlier period as well. For example, Himanshu Rai Indo International, in joint venture with IBB of England, they made a film called Karma, both in Hindi as well as English, in 1933. So such kind of joint collaborations, they were being thought about even before the times of independence. And when we see that Achut Kanya, a film which was made in 1936, was made by a German director, Franz Osten. So how some of the international technicians, how they were associated with the Hindi film industry even before the times of independence as well. And this kind of a trend could again be seen after 1990s and thereafter. And we also see that a number of changes which came in technology during this time, the coming of the satellite television in India, and thereafter we see that how DTH or direct to home, which in a way revolutionized the entertainment industry. And thereafter the coming of the mobile phones, for example, in 1994, and thereafter the coming of the smartphones, as we find nowadays that how mobiles, they have so many features rolled into one. and OTT platform, for example, has become more and more popular, and how it is being viewed on the mobile phones, and the size of the mobile phones, how it has also increased over a period of time, and it is also serving as some sort of a camera as well as the screen for the people, those who have these kinds of mobiles. So we find that 1990s and thereafter, how the internationalization of the production, distribution and the consumption of the Hindi films took place during this time. And we also find that the kind of changes which came because of the introduction of the smaller auditoriums, whereby some kind of a greater flexibility to mix and match film shows could be seen, and the timing and the prices, they were in a way also being in a way matched, ensuring improved profits even on average films as well. So we find that how the distinction between the parallel and the commercial cinema, it diminished film by film. And nowadays, especially after in the 21st century, the talk about the mainstream cinema as well as the parallel cinema was not there. Rather, the things they were being talked in the framework of good films or bad films, rather than art cinema or the mainstream cinema or popular cinema. So such kind of distinctions over a period of time, they gave way, and films, they could exhibit both the qualities. They were commercial films, but at the same time, from the artistic point of view, they were new. They had a lot of experimentation, and many of them, they were able to catch the attention of the spectators on some of the serious issues as well. And we find that how new filmmakers, they also made a mark in that sense. And for example, there was a film called Maqbool in 2003, Omkara in 2006, Heather in 2014 by Vishal Bharadwaj. Then A Wednesday in 2008 and Special 26 in 2013 by Neeraj Pandey. Page 3 2005 and Fashion 2008 by Madhur Bhandarkar. Let us see this clip from A Wednesday.
झगड़ा किसी का भी हो, बेवजह मरता मैं ही हूं। भीड़ तो देखी होगी ना आपने? भीड़ में से कोई एक शक्ल चुन लीजिए, मैं वो हूं। I'm just the stupid common man.
If you see this clip, which is from a film called A Wednesday, and how this film became very, very popular because of the kind of direction which was involved, the kind of theme which was there, and the acting of Nasiruddin Shah in this film, apart from others as well, we find that it was able to create a lot of impact because of the acting as well as the kind of theme which related to the terror and the kind of terror which is being perpetrated on the common masses, and how common masses, they have been victims of the continued terror of some of the terrorists in that context. So we find that how terror as a weapon which is being used by the people, those who want to create some kind of a fear among the masses, was being shown in this particular film. And we also find that how over a period of time, such kind of films which were in a way made, which had a lot of experimentation in the script, and how we also find that during this period, bound scripts, they were being provided to the people, those who were in the films, which was not the case in earlier times. Especially, it was being suggested that many times scripts, they were being written on the sets itself during the earlier period. So such kind of changes during this particular period, where a lot of time was also given to the pre-production workshops as well, so that less time is taken in terms of filmmaking. And in this context, when we talk about the script driven films, not only A Wednesday, but Kahani, Special 26, Baby, Tare Zameen Par, as you can see on the screen, there are so many of them, and how these script driven films, they created a lot of impact on the masses. And especially when you talk about Three Idiots, it marks the apogee of such films, which were not only entertaining, but they also present some kind of a social reality in an interesting manner. You can see this clip.
तुम वापस क्यों आए हो?
सर कुछ भूल गया हूं सर.
क्या?
Instruments that record, analyze, summarize, organize, debate and explain information that are illustrative, non-illustrative, hardbound, paperback, jacketed, non-jacketed, with forward introduction, table of contents, index that are intended for the enlightenment, understanding, enrichment, enhancement and education of the human brain through sensory route of vision, sometimes touch.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
किताबें सर, बुक्स भूल गया हूं सर, ले लो.
तो सीधा सीधा नहीं कह सकते थे?
थोड़ी देर पहले कोशिश की थी सर, लेकिन आपको सीधा सीधा पसंद नहीं आया.
If you see this film clip, which is talking about the kind of education system which is in India, so nowadays we talk about that there are so many fields in which people they want to work, and the earlier system of rote learning, which was associated with the education system, should give way to new experimental fields where people they are interested. And such films like Three Idiots, they in a way push the case for some kind of changes in the educational sector, where reforms they have to come, and how these kind of reforms they are to be in such a way that the younger generation can relate with the education. And when you talk about these kind of changes, you also see that a lot of social and cultural values they are also changing, and how more and more women they are also seen in the public life. They are working in different sectors, and many of the sectors which were not open to women in the earlier times, they have also been opened to the women, and they are making their mark in those sectors as well. And it has also a lot to do with the kind of change in the mindset of the people, that how the people they have become comparatively more receptive in terms of the changing social and the cultural values. In this context, we also have seen that how the aspirations of the masses they are also one of the reasons for change, and how the standard of living of the people over a period of time, it has also increased that way, that the people now they have comparatively more resources at their disposal. And with these kinds of changes, we see that how many of the women they have entered the filmmaking business, and they are working in diversified fields, and their viewpoints are comparatively more diverse, and they are more refreshing in nature. And in this context, that how the urban empowerment of women, it is also being reflected in films as well. And some of the films like English Winglish by Gauri Shinde, Kahani, in which Vidya Balan is starred, and Neel Bate Sannata by Ashwini Dheer Tiwari. So we find that such kind of films, some of them by the women filmmakers, they are trying to portray a new kind of a viewpoint. They are trying to present stories in a different manner, and how they are also in a way engaging some of the women contributors, that the script writers, for example, or for that matter producers as well as directors, all of them they are women. And in this context, these kind of changes they became possible only because of the kind of changes which came in the 1990s. Apart from that, we also see that how the animation films they are also very important from the point of view of children, and on various mythological themes, whether Krishna, Ganesh, Mahabharata, Ramayana, on all these kinds of themes we find the animation films, and how the multiplexes they have in a way helped in the exhibition of such large audience films as well. As we find that children they are the consumers of the animation films in large numbers, and these children they are nowadays in a way important decision makers in the family as well, that how the parents they turn to children in terms of making decisions about the various family issues, in the many times in the context of purchase of certain items. And we find that how children, they are being exposed to the advertising, and how the advertisers, they are in a way targeting children in that context. So when we find that how during the times of globalization, the animation cinema, especially for children, it was also being made at this time. You can see this film clip from Bal Ganesh, which is there.
शंकर जी का डमरू बाजे, पार्वती का नंदन नाचे। शंकर जी का डमरू बाजे, पार्वती का नंदन नाचे। बर्फीले कैलाश शिखर पर जय गणेश की धूम। अजय हो, अजय हो, अजय हो, अजय हो, अजय हो। शंकर जी का डमरू बाजे, पार्वती का नंदन नाचे। बर्फीले कैलाश शिखर पर जय गणेश की धूम।
As you can see in the film clip, if you recognize the voice, that how Kailash Kher has sung this song. So big music personalities, those who are big singers, they are also associated with these kinds of projects. And apart from that, the kind of changes which have come in the technology, and nowadays we talk about VFS effects, which are so VFX effects are in a way have developed over a period of time. And with the improvements in technology, we find that the quality has also improved. And when you have such kind of themes with which children, they can relate, and as well as the parents, they also promote, because such kind of themes, they have been in a way native to the Indian psyche in some way. This you can see another film clip, which is an animation film from film Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Vande Krishnam.
Again, if you see this film clip, you will find that how the mythological stories which are associated with Lord Krishna, they have been very popular. And when children, they are being fed with such kind of stories through the medium of animation, they become interested in mythology as well. And such kind of presentations are not only important from the point of view of children, but the people, those who are involved in making such kind of animations, how they are also in a way connected to not only to their profession, but also to the film world as well, because such kind of a cinema is another contributor to the economy as well. We also have seen that over a period of time, with the coming of such kind of norms with regard to the globalization, that over a period of time, the cost of the production that has also decreased. And some of the well organized film factories, how they are in a way producing 5 to 10 films on different budgets, and these films, they are in a way made on some kind of fixed schedule, and either with the money which has been taken on loan, or which has been taken on a very low rate of interest from abroad or from the Indian institutions. And if there are lesser budgets, less stocks, then recycled sets and fixed schedules, then it will in a way imply a lot of pre-production preparation. So when there is a lot of pre-production preparation, then the shooting time, it will also is going to decrease in that way. And some of the films, they take very less time in terms of their shooting. For example, Satya, there was a film in 2003 which was shot in 70 days. Makbul, for example, took 50 days to shoot. And both these films, they took less than 6 months from idea to completion. So in this way we can find some kind of a financial prudence, where the less number of prints they are there in every print cost somewhere between 30,000 to 40,000. And how we also see that some films like Mr. and Mrs. Iyer, they had 25 prints, while a big film like Kante had a astounding 500 prints. Now some of the films they are sometimes released with even 5,000 prints as well. So we find that the number of prints, they also increase the kind of cost which is involved in terms of production of a film. But at the same time, when more prints will be there, then it means that film is widely circulated at one point of time, because more and more prints they are available of that particular film. So we basically find that how the coming of so many prints is also connected with the kind of money which is being spent in terms of production at the production stage, and at the same time how the advertising and other costs they also have gone up over a period of time. And apart from the finishing of the film, when the film is complete, we find that how the film stars and the filmmakers, all of them, they are contributing a lot of time in terms of advertising, so that the film reaches a large number of people, and the people they are aware that such a film exists, and they have to in a way go and watch that particular kind of a film. We also have seen that over a period of time, when films they are being exhibited on television, and how televisions they pay huge sum of money for the broadcasting rights, and the favorable government policies they are there in the form of the benefits for the export industry, including the film. And we find also the tax cut for the multiplexes, that how less tax they have to be given for more and more multiplexes which have been built, the rationalization of the tax structure across diverse stages from production to exhibition, and how the selling of the film space for advertisement in the form of brand placements is also taking place. So that how we find that some of the products, how they are being placed in the films, and when these products they are being placed in the films, then the advertisers they pay some kind of a money to the filmmakers. So in this way the filmmakers they reduce the kind of cost of that particular film, because they are able to secure some kind of finance or money from the advertisers. And on the other hand, with the changing times, we also find that there is a lot of government support, where the government is supporting the multiplexes, where less taxes they have to be paid when one is going for multiplexes. And we also find that such kind of favorable government policies are there, so that the government is able to in a way promote the multiplexes. And we also find that how a number of times we have seen that huge amount of money is being given to the TV channels for the broadcasting rights of a particular film, for example, and lesser the window in terms of, or bigger the film in terms of its budget. So in that context we find that when a particular film which is a big budget film and it is being shown on the television in a very short window period of time, then the amount which will be given by the television channels will be comparatively high. But when the similar film will be shown at some later point of time, and if the film is of less budget, then definitely the TV channels they will pay a comparatively less price. And nowadays with the coming of OTT, we find that so many OTT platforms they are also purchasing such kind of films. So we'll continue talking about the kind of changes which have come in the film industry with the coming of the globalization in our next lecture. Thank you very much.